Good morning, everybody. Seems to me somebody knew what was coming yesterday. My assumption, of course. And the reason I'm thinking that was it was surprising to me yesterday. And it was like for the second day in a row that things started off in a negative way. And they didn't reach a support area before they turned. So IWM again, which is clearly underperforming, I think will be negative from yesterday shortly, or it is. You can see the futures there. So what I mean by that is like, as negative as things started out yesterday. You remember the news, GDP, and a big gap down and accelerating lower, and then at 10 o'clock reversal period, all of a sudden it just stops going down and reverses back up again and keeps going up. Right. And so it appeared, based on that, I mean, the size of the gap was somewhat sizable. It looked like it could come down closer to these lows. That's what typically happens, is that, especially starting from this little sideways consolidation and then the breakdown goes down to support. And that's where buyers step up again and you get a counter trend move. Well, it didn't happen. And things moved up. And so now, it was here yesterday, it was yesterday, the breakdown, but that was the day before. And now you can see prices are up as where they are and look like they're headed up toward that next resistance area where the 200 is. So this is the correction bar, and it breaks under the lows. It starts off negative, it dips down, and comes right back up again, closes near the high. And so it's stalled there at the declining 50. And then the Microsoft news and Meta news comes out. And that's why I say somebody knows something. Of course they did. And we can see it's right where it is right now, gapping up in between the 50 and the 200. You see that little right here, these bars overlapping each other right there. That's that pivot high right there, which it just marginally exceeded. So it looks like you can get upside. That 200 should be a formidable resistance area aligned with that pivot if it could actually go there. And so the size of the gap, if it comes down, in reality, it should not fill the gap. And so why do I say that? Well, essentially it went sideways, right, for 3.5 days, and then gaps down and reverses. So this was, in essence, a resting period with a downside shakeout, which obviously stops get hit, and then buyers stepped up again and pushed it up, closing the correction bar. So for this to fill the gap this morning would not be, it wouldn't be all that bearish because it still would be an up day, right? But it would not be typical with a resting period. And often when that has happened, especially if it was to close down there, really, obviously gapping up here in a red bar wouldn't be good, but it still would be a higher low, higher high bar compared to the other bars. So we'll see what it does, as we always do at the end of the day. But just based on what it's doing, even if it jiggles around a little bit, what was resistance should become support, basic 101 stuff. And there should be buyers there and bring it back up. But, again, repeating, but gapping up to where it is, it should rattle around there or just keep, going up. I mean, that from there to there would be a sizable move if we measure from yesterday's close up to that resistance area. That would be another 3.5% from the close and the resting period. But as I said, this consolidation suggests it should not come back down here since it rested, and it would be suspect if it did. Right? All right, S&Ps, correction bars everywhere, the dip down and recovery, and here's where it's at. And so moving averages on futures are relevant to futures traders, not really relevant to, let's say, everyone else, because not everybody's looking at the futures. So you got to look at the S&P to see S&PS, SPY, SPX to see where they are in relation to moving averages and support and resistance. Nonetheless, resting period, breakdown, under support, recovery, right? Positive, moving up. It's got room to move higher. We'll see what it does. NASDAQ futures, similar price action. And now we just turn that green. Make that green, and it should stay above there today, right? Theoretically, just based on, as I said, the resting period, the correction bar. It got above it. It should now keep going up. And we'll see if it can continue to do that. And just looking over to the left, right? Stopping at that pivot for the time being. And just pulling back a little bit. And as I said, that resting period, if it should come down there, there should be willing buyers and hold it in that area. And if it's, well, bullish demand continues as it is, it'll not even get down there. So the Dow has been the laggard. It had a correction bar. It is here at the top of those pivots, and it's stalled. It continues to be the weaker. It's got room to go up. In the same analysis, we'll see what it does. The Russell is negative for the moment. It had the correction bar. It cannot get through it. Why? I don't know. We'd have to look at maybe oil stocks, regional banks, biotechs. Those would be where to look to see the weakness. And considering what's happening, there's probably maybe some gold stocks in there, but you can see oil is down here a bit and breaking down and under $60 again. So coming down toward that prior low. And this has positive and negative implications. But nonetheless, the markets are moving up based on news, right? Microsoft and Meta. And if some of the assumptions we made, right? In a really bullish market, breadth expands and people want to buy speculative stocks, right? Small caps, IWM, and they're not. And so they're moving up on the FANG stocks, right? Some of them. Apple's actually down on the day. Gold is plummeting here. Had a week of consolidating, whipping back and forth, getting tariff news. China, we're all sick of it. And that's coming down to 3,200 and these pivot lows there. And you can see buyers stepped up at that support. And we'll see what that does. But clearly a breakdown. And it's got to come down to this minor support level, give or take, which is where these pivots are. And we'll see where that closes. A wide range bar breaking down from a consolidation isn't good, even though it's in an uptrend. Good morning, Valley, and everyone else. Yeah. Dan, Raul is going to keep you busy this morning. He's got a lot of recommendations, which I'll post to you. You can check them out. Okay, silver broke down. I think the world was thinking this would continue to play catch up. It is now broken down, but recovering. We'll continue to monitor this and had a 1, 2, 3. It couldn't get through it. It broke down. So it's forming a new trading range. And we'll see what happens. See if this can repair the uncertainty based on what's happening here. And before I get to SPX, look at this is kind of incredible, right? Microsoft from where it was, right? 10% move overnight from here on earnings. Skyrocketing up there. And it was over 430. It was backing off a little bit. NVIDIA up a little over almost 7%. Amazon, 5.5%. Meta, 8.5%. And it's actually, I guess, a little more. It's up a little bit. So, 8.5%. So these are significant, of course, moves. Google playing catch up yesterday. I think in the room, at the end of the day, we talked about this forming a buy setup. And so there you have a bottoming tail bar, and we'll see where that can close the day. So FANG stocks should be back in play. This is, again, an incredible move up into that resistance area. So it'd be surprising to see who wants to buy this up here on this gap up and where it goes from here. Walmart looks like, I don't know where it is here, pre-market. I can go back and look, but that looks like it's going to continue to go higher. That's a good pattern, sideways and a breakout. And JP Morgan. So I much prefer these things with these bases that participated in the latter part of the day and have correction bars that could move up rather than things that are up 10, 8, 9% on a gap up. That just doesn't meet the common sense test to be buying those. JP Morgan not doing much of anything, and Walmart actually down, which could be a gift. And see if it springs right back up again. Okay. So internals. This should be, we talked about the bullishness of this move from 0 to this extreme in a short amount of time. Historically, that is a positive. We see that there's been this follow through, and I would assume the A's, advancers minus decliners, they should open up. Well, it'd be interesting to see where they open up, especially with the small caps being down and financials not participating. We'll see where that is. But I was going to say, just based on this gap up, it should easily be over at plus 2,000 and maybe even more. And yesterday, even with that reversal, because the day started off so negatively, it closed under 0. Right? So this should open up here. Where it opens up doesn't necessarily mean where it's going to close. So yesterday, intraday, it was down here, and it clawed its way back. So these put call ratios, we'll see where they are near the end of the day. And they'll probably open up low, but that doesn't really mean much of anything. It's where they are at the end of the day. And now where that'll move these moving averages, this is almost into the lower band. So be keeping an eye on that into tomorrow and next week. And SPY, there's your correction bar. So yesterday's low becomes our first reference point of support on the daily chart. And because it's a correction bar and a wider range bar compared to the previous bars, it's a very important support level not to be violated on a short-term basis. And so, again, this was resistance. Now it should be support. Turn that green. Coming down, there should be buyers there. And as I said, if it's really bullish, it won't even get down there. So it's opening up above the declining 50 MA. And at the end of the day, do we have another unfilled gap? Does it fill? Right? Does it build new, support intraday by going sideways? And if it does that, closes with an unfilled gap and goes sideways, that would increase a bias that it could go higher because of the bullish price action. Right? Common sense. Okay. SPX. And so with yesterday's consolidation, this contracted even more. Remember down here, I think it was at around plus 300. Yesterday it was like 105. The day before it was 120. And that was the idea behind the spring getting tightened. So, that was timely and, tightening spring. And suggesting some kind of move was going to come, and it appeared, based on the gap down, that the move was going to be to the downside, and then buyers stepped up essentially, before getting down to support, and then pushed it up. So 57.25, which is just below the 200, should be a good area. It's going to open up, assuming it stays here, right around here. It's a good distance away. And the bottom down near yesterday's low, odds are it's not going to either one of those. It should not. Right? Otherwise, something is wrong. And this should expand for tomorrow. 5,700 is now the largest open interest of puts and calls, and that's expiring a couple of months from now. So that has moved out and increased with obviously bullish biases that this would go higher. And it seems like a pretty logical place, assuming things hold on to the gain and then continue to do that. So we'll see how it unfolds. All yours, Dan.
Morning. That's a post I made pre-market. Let's see, we're going to try to do a gold GDX call spread, and then here's another one. I'm just trying to give you all the alerts there. So yeah, both of these are gapping up nicely. Yesterday I was in defense mode with the ugly, gap and waterfall. So I was bullish as can be ever since this gap over this red bar. I said I'm bullish until we trade under prior bar's low, which was yesterday. Went into defense mode, crazy close, bullish close, and I'm back to bullish. Now the gap's going to mess it up. So we got out of a lot of things at profits yesterday because you see these gap downs. I was playing defense, but now with this gap up, we'll have a nice gain. Let's take it. TSM held up better than the others. I even said yesterday, this looks like a directional now. But the gap's messing it up. So let's take our money on the put spread. Glob alarm just went off. That I was playing defense. I just moved it. Well, no, I just said just sell it, break even. Just gap in resistance here. We'll have time to let things settle down now. STZ alarm. Been dead money, but it's fine. IoT alarm. We took our money on the put spread yesterday. We also had a directional that we were playing defense. So I just moved that to break even. Deck alarm. I've been watching for a while. Let me just reset the alarm. I had an early alarm. I'll set it here at 112.50 now. So that's a put spread idea in the bottom. It's not ready for a directional bottoming pattern yet. And then Kava alarm. Now this is a bottoming pattern that I like. So yesterday gap reversal, consolidating at resistance, bullish weekly, and a big old void. So that's gapping up. Now look, that looks great as an ad. Those are all my alarms. JP Morgan alarm just went off. So Greg mentioned that in Walmart. Yeah, see, these are rested. So these are totally different patterns than something up 5 bars. All right, Raul, let's see what you got before I go to earnings trades. And as always, I deleted a bunch of them already. Fade, I think, is a bio, so be careful with that. But yeah, the pattern's there, breakout of a bottoming pattern and a buy setup, STRL. Um, yeah, you can tell in my voice I'm a little more reluctant, but I'll keep it on the list. KBR. Yeah, it's fine. And Dollar Tree, yeah, Dollar Tree I already have posted. And I like that it's gapping down because then it's not going to trigger. Unless it's valid. Let's see, what's the entry? Now, I think it's kind of just risk off. Well, risk on. I mean, they're going for the more exciting stock. So over 82.23 is the entry. All right, alarm set. Let's go to earnings now. Done, yeah. Unless earnings are coming up. Yeah. 7, yeah, it's totally. Yeah, I just said that it was a post of trade as a credit spread, but that I like it as a put spread also. Look at all these earnings, man. Hood, it's bullish, but needs to rest. Talking, these Bitcoin stocks, etc. Look at Mister's been on a tear. Now look at Ether. Could be the start of a bottoming patterns of Ether ETF. Reddit. 124. It's a potential bottoming patterns, gap and resistance, and the market's up a lot, so it's not prime time yet. I think that Kava is more prime time. This one, top of the range. I don't like it unless it goes sideways more. All right, so I'm gonna just try to delete things here because I got too much to watch. And I have these on the other computer anyway, these FANG stocks. So 590, that's a big gap to resistance, but that's a bullish cap. That's a buy. That's a buy on pullback. And look at the weekly is a bear sandwich retest pattern. Microsoft gap is bigger. It's bigger. It's still bullish as can be. Remember I said yesterday in the trading room, I said, based on the close, my target was 410 to 415. And it hit that on earnings like in 15 seconds. So this one, I'm not adverse to shorting a 1 DTE call spread at the right time, of course. eBay, I'm hoping we get a 1, 2, 3. And it's a kind of a sloppy inverse head and shoulder. Vichy is a buy setup. I got an alarm up there at 32.35, I think. This one, TDocs, piece of junk. Remember when that thing was, gotta go look at the monthly, but I think it was $200-300 during COVID. What a joke. 140, I said that's a call spread idea. Qualcomm, any juice for tomorrow? Oh, and I posted GDX as a call spread, gapping under this base. And I just sent my order out pre-market at 50 cents for next week, the 50.53. Doubt will get filled because that's a big gap. And GLD looks similar. I'll check the premiums on those once they settle down for a few minutes. AGI. This one I said yesterday kind of looked like a bear flag, and it's gapping under. So that 30-minute, well, it's actually gapping too much for directional. So call spread only. C1 potential bottoming pattern, but I got enough to watch. And I got better bottoming patterns anyway. Like Kava. ICLR, I don't see any prints, but it shows it down. We'll come back. So Tish, 77, bullish gap, put spread if there's any juice. Golf Hotel, same. Algin up to 190. Ah, this is, we just sent the trade review out last night. And the trade review was on this pattern. The 1, 2, 3 following this shock 180 breakdown failure. So it's bullish, but no pattern. MTG. Put spread if there's any juice. Like I said, eBay alarm go off again. I guess up here. Maybe 30-minute high. We'll watch it. This was a bullish pattern, but now it's gapping down. Allstate over these highs. It shows it gapping down here to 197. I have an alarm at 199. GFL is a bullish pattern. It's technically not a 1, 2, 3 because that's not a, didn't stay in the upper third, but close enough. It's still bullish. This is a piece of garbage. Possible put spread 30-minute high. Sidna opening down. That's a call spread and a short. It's bearish. Short a 5-minute low on that and call spread. Credential nothing. ALKT. And put spread over these highs. Tandem gapping up. Put spread. 30-minute high. Fatai gapping down. Call spread. UDR no prints, but it's bullish. I have an alarm at 52 and change, I think. PTC is bullish. I have an alarm at 155.50. GCOS gapping down, 85 call spread. If there's any choose. SCI 76 call spread. Aflac sloppy, but over the week's high put spread. Wow, that's a big percent. 50 cents on a $4 stock is, ouch. No, it's horrible. That's a hotel REIT. Way gapping up, 39. That looks good. Night and gap. White House Hotel bottoming pattern. I have an alarm up there somewhere, maybe 650. PPC call spread. Form put spread. That's why I typed out that big list for you pre-market because there's a lot of credit spread ideas. GWW alarm. Okay, there's a gap breakout. Put spread idea. UDR alarm. Put spread. Looks good. Nice range expansion engulfing yesterday. I wish it didn't end these two MAs here, but there is a big old void. 30-minute high might be a directional also. IWM is slopping around all over the place. UDR. Yeah, there's going to be, 0 by $2. I don't know why this season has been crazier spreads than normal. JP Morgan. Oh, that was some bad alarms. Let me reset it. JP Morgan, I'll reset it at 245. Oh, that's where I did have it. Okay, so I guess it could go off. Bull. Bull, I'm watching this for a turn here. It's coming down to the IPO price. I don't know what's going on. This thing was $80 and just getting creamed. All right, Marvel here. I said 5-minute low, but we can um it actually looks like a maybe a directional one pullback. But I'm just in defense mode again, just taking our money on the put spread is all. All right, we have the 56.52. Went against us yesterday, as many things did. Kava up alarm. There's wow, still 25 cents. Kava looks great as a bottoming pattern. Um, we have a put spread. We are not in it. We're not in it as a directional yet. Let me put it here. Earnings 515. If the markets weren't gapping up so big, I'd say buy 5-minute high. I mean, I'm just gonna, as of now, so if we get a gift of it coming in, we'll do that. Dollar General. Oh, yeah. Remember, I didn't like that one as much as Dollar Tree. Remember, could you tell in my tone yesterday? I didn't like the way it came down with those bars. This still is fine if it takes out the high. Walmart, I guess I had an early alarm go off. Let me reset it. 95.16. Wait, 97.16. 97.50. IWM got slammed to the low. Yeah, when I was looking at the futures last night, um, it was the Qs were I think at 478, and I remember making a comment in the green room saying, "Wow, I'm shocked that they're not up more with Meta and Microsoft ripping Meta. There's profit taking, whereas Microsoft has a bigger gap. But let's see what the 450s are. PRP. Yeah, it's sloppy. Microsoft 450s for tomorrow. There's juice. Well, I'll take that back. 45 cents. All right, IoT outbreak even. Just I'm still in management mode. All right, Marvel. You can close at 25. We're out. So we got light inventory. We're doing nothing. Yeah, I set the alarm. Glob. Ah, good. Well, we sold Glob already, pre-market. Nice. So we're at a Glob. I had a break-even alarm, but we sold it at a gain. All right, TSM, I said 5-minute low. All right, so we're at a TSM, 157s. I think it made its target of 2 cents anyway. Yeah, it made its target of 2 cents. So we're at a TSM. We covered half yesterday at 24, so we're at a 26, which is an average of 13. Nice trade there. That's the only smooth stuff here. 90.68. Oh, I have it 90.48, so we're fine. All right, Walmart alarm. I would like it better, 30-minute high. There's Kava. Let's put Walmart here. IRM. I liked maybe 30-minute high, but it's all over the place. Directional trades, we're down to 3. SPSC. And looks good. I see that's a nice bottoming pattern. STZ we're in doing nothing, and then WRB. We have a half lot, and that's still doing nothing. The fact that this gap down and then it's an inside bar is relative weakness to the broader markets. EHT, yeah, this shows earnings 5.6. But I always double check on PC. All right, so I'm not as busy as I would have thought. I guess that's because we have light inventory and I'm waiting for things to settle down on these earnings gappers. Oh, our Kava should be a target. It's 2 cents. Yeah, bid 5 cents. So we're out of Kava. So we're flat now on the weekly options trader. But I'll watch Kava for a new trade for next week. 428. 28. That's 14. Oh, I did GDX. I did not get filled on yet. Let's see what the midpoint is. It was the 50.53 for next week. The $53 calls are 0 by 50 cents. So that's totally skewing the midpoint. And I wanted 50 cents. So we're not going to, I'll leave it for a little bit, but we're not going to get filled. Planning. Oh, when's Kava earnings? All right, so pullback would be great. Earnings 515, so we can still do a put spread for next week. We could do the 88s, I would say. Wow, this thing got spreading. EXC alarm. No pattern, no. See, doing nothing. It's keep. Yeah, my man, it's just spreading. It's me on the bid trying to get out. There. Yeah, yeah, it came back. It was whippy when I looked at it a few minutes ago. Yeah, it's big. That opening 15-minute bar, pretty whippy. But yeah, I like the pattern. Nice bottoming pattern of the 20 and 50 with a void. Target could be 95 to 98. Deck. Check. Put spread. There's actually some juice for tomorrow, even 10 108's 55 cents. And then you can roll it, but I'd rather it break out. Yeah, that thing's, I don't know. That's been trying for so long. I would like it better. If it had a bottoming tail and a closing range expansion. I just don't know about the reward to risk and oomph on it. I don't know. Over the high, it's fine. Yeah. Small little red bar ignore. Fighters look great though, gapping over that consolidation with a void and holding well. 948. We might have to do 30-minute high. I think Spider is a better target than this. So the 4, I like Spiders the best for a start off day trade. Swing trade target 200. This one's holding well. So 948. Maybe I'll look to buy calls. This tandem gapped up. Let me check puts. Now I know it has diabetes in the title, but I don't think it's a bio. I have to double check. 0/70. Man, these guys just such jerks. There. I don't know what Sir is. GCOS, I said call spread, but that's too far away. I'm not gonna even look. Yeah, way, that's too whippy for me, Alex. White House, put spread. What did I get? Something from yesterday. All right, White House. No weeklies. 5 cents by 145. Man, you guys are so annoying. Form, I wrote down, gap's too big. GWW is too whippy. So I'm just going through my winnowed list. eBay. eBay's too whippy. I'll just start going through these earnings things. That's what I mentioned Pittsburgh. See, I like spiders, 30-minute high. Give it another 8 minutes here. Get rid of that whatever number we got. No weeklies in this, but that's a put spread pattern. That was a call spread pattern. That was a bullish gap that got negated. That's I'm trying to sell puts. The tie, I said call spread if there's any juice. I'll look for tie 110. Zero by 35. All right, Microsoft topping tail. Meta got sold into harder. Tesla, there's a bunch of rumors that they're trying to replace Musk as a CEO, but it's still a bottoming pattern. I'm going to put an order out on this Cabo put spread. See if I could build. So it would be, I'm going to do the 87s. 82 for 50 cents. It's 49. I'm going to try 55. If I get filled, I'll tell you. Oh, I got filled already. Wow, it was spreading and I got filled. All right, so I'll see if he'll come in a little to get a better price. FHI, I call that a grinder. I don't like those, Sam, because it's up 38 bars already. Unless you're just day trading it. That's just, I don't like grinders, particularly when the market is up a lot. SCI 80 call spread. SCI, there's no weeklies on the 80s. 55 by 80 is not bad, but spreading. Aflac was bullish if it went up, but it didn't. Oh, so let me check. Let me check. Call spread on Aflac. Aflac. What did I say? The 109s. 0 by 35 for next week. Spider 422. Right. I agree. Well, I don't know if you're talking to Alex, if you're talking to Greg or me, but I was bullish as can be on this 180 turn. Why? Because I was looking for a pullback and a turn with the cooked internals. And when you get cooked internals, I've talked to Greg about this numerous times over the last 30 years, that you got to put on your playbook of aggressive entries. Don't sit there and say, well, that pattern ain't pretty enough, so no, I'm going to pass. Because then you hear me saying, Alex, well, there's a very high chance the market's going to be up 10 to 15% higher, and we didn't participate. So I was aggressive then. Go look at our closed trades. But what I did not do, which I wish I did in retrospect, is buy a half lot of the spiders there. No, we were in the moment. We talked about it in the moment for sure. And it's what I just said. You got to go to an aggressive playbook when the internals are cooked. So that again, I don't know if you're talking to Greg or me or both, but I gave you my view, Alex, anyway. All right, let me continue here. That gave it up ugly. UDR was the one I said put spread, but I was too skirting. Gave it up. 422. Yeah. Yeah, Alex, I'm doing many things here. So if I'm missing something, just you gotta ways to Lippy. White House I like, but I like White House bottoming pattern. I prefer foot spread, but there was nothing. PPC, ugly gap down. Form, gaps too big. Clack down 20, but well, it's relative because it's still inside there. MA gave it out. PSA would be a put spread. PSA. 292, 290s. Ah, there's juice on this. 290s. That ain't bad. Hey, Sam. The 290s are 230 by 340. So they're spready as can be. 2 by 3.3. I'm going to try the 280s. 0 by 360. Actually, I'm going to do the 280, 270 put spread. For $1.30 is the midpoint, and that's just because they're crazy spreads. Whiskey, Sierra. Yeah, yeah, over the high. Looks fine, bottom of pattern. No, I know, but that's what we do on the aggressive playbook. But then I remember with those gaps, you had a big unfilled gap. I mean, you just go back and look at it. All right, the puts are asinine spreads, so you got to do directional if you're going to do it. All right, we're kind of just drifting lower here now, so Click is good, then we don't gotta do 30-minute high walls. All right, so that's PSA. eBay gave it up. Dollar General gone. Hims. Remember, this is this fat pill. I was watching it, but has earnings next week, so can't do a put spread. Buy CMS, Qualcomm. Nah, you aren't going to get maybe a Condor, but that's far away. I'm not going to even look. I clear bearish. Fish, gap's too big. Ash, bearish gap, ABB. No pattern, Wex. Call spread. Above last week's high, if there's anything. My alarm didn't go off again, Thomas, did it? Oh yeah, I got an alarm at 2:45:50. Why do you use the term real nice? I'm not busting you. I'm asking you, what is real nice about it to you? And where would you enter? It's nice, but I wouldn't use the term real nice myself. But tell me why you said it. Well, the reason I wouldn't use the term real is because of this prior copping tail was a little breakout failure. So that's why I would only do a half lot over the high of these three bars if the sector and the market were acting in unison, and then the back half over that topping tail. Oh, Lily, I forgot all about doing a call spread. Yeah, I mentioned it, but just didn't get around to it. Let me check 900s. Wow, actually, the 880s for tomorrow are $1.25. Wow, Craig, wow, look at this. Look at the 880s tomorrow, naked. It's $1.25 or whatever you filled it. Well, it'll eat a lot of buying power. $880 stock naked. Let me see how much. I'll put an order dialog box out and see how much buying power. $11,300. So that's a lot of buying power. That's why it's better to do it. Well, it is on one contract, you know, but I like the pattern for it. Let me see if I can do a spread for next week. This was for tomorrow. So the 900s for next week. All right, let's see even go $5 above that. $5 wide. Only 26 cents. 900. 905 is 36. 900. $10 wide. 67 cents. Like pattern for it. MA, nothing. Well, I agree with you, Alex, particularly on the gap. That is telling me that it's gonna skew the picture on your 65. All right, McDonald's, nothing. KKR would be a put spread idea. One tens. $30 by 60. Southern is not bad tomorrow over today's time. I know, but Sam, the gap, but I don't, we may have two different conversations going on. The gap is not going to give you any confirmation on that big old 180 reversal because I know what it's going to look like. So it's my point is it ain't helping you. If you're trading the 180, hold on, 20 by 150. Man, you guys are jerks. All right, so here, let me show you. Sam, this 180 reversal, I don't even need to look. The hourly chart is ain't gonna tell me nothing other than it's had a big move, a big 2-day move, and it's at resistance. That's what the hourly is gonna tell me. And in fact, the hourly is gonna talk you out of the trade. Do you see my point? The hourly is going to be, are you kidding me? It's a climb away at resistance. I ain't buying that. And then it gaps to resistance. And I think that's the night I texted Greg and Alex. And I'm saying, how the hell are we going to trade this in the morning? Should have been in the day before. So again, we might have different conversations going on here because I'm busy. Course looks good. Thomas?